Right, fucking hell, this has been legit the worst week of my life. I don't know whether anyone has ever listened to the entire the entire Gorillaz discography in the space of 4 days.
Don't know if anyone's ever had the joy of doing it.
Yeah, mental well-being, don't do it. It's fucking dangerous. I mean,
they say lockdown was meant to be dangerous for people's mental health. This is far worse. I'm thinking.
If we had to do this like prime lockdown, I think that this would have been the final episode of the podcast. I don't think I would have it in me to listen to any more music.
just music done forever.
I just want a break from sound. So, in case you haven't noticed, the Gorillaz thing wasn't our favourite.
I could say I really enjoyed it.
We've had better listening experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, it's not going to be like we did with Declan McKenna and Idols, because they've got 7 odd albums, and it would have taken... This thing would have been like 4 hours
so
long.
What the plan is for this one is we're going to go over all the albums. Obviously, it's still a discography view in less detail. And then when we get up to present, we're going to obviously take more time over the new album, because we think that's the best way to do it. We're still hopefully going to do the first album's justice, if there's any justice left in this world after listening to those songs. But yeah, we think this is the best way to do it, and you guys also voted to have a little bit of a shorter version for this one, so hopefully it's more popular with you guys as well.
It was a pretty close vote, but after last week, where it did better than we expected, just us chatting shit about music.
Yeah, and that was only an hour episode, wasn't it? And it kind of it looked like it was doing quite a bit better than the Idols review, so we were quite happy with that.
So hopefully this one doesn't take ages, but it won't exactly be fast, because the 7 albums we're still going to try and do the best we can.
Yeah, because we don't want to leave we don't want to leave any stone unturned, do we? We don't want to.
No.
We don't want to.
And every stone was overturned. It was it's been a long week.
Stones all over the gaff.
It's been a long week. This has been the least enjoyable discography review we've listened to so far. I think you need Gorillaz in a very moderate amount.
Yeah, there are some sort of decent tunes scattered throughout, but few and far between, let's say.
Very few and far between.
But anyway, shall we get into it?
Yeah. So
I know you're trying to put it off.
By the way, we're not gonna go into like the fucking Gorillaz lore about all the cartoons and shit they've got. Like, I know it's like a virtual band or not, but we're not going. We're here to talk about the music. There's hundreds of other videos about Gorillaz lore, I'm sure. We're not going to talk about that. So, 2000, Damon Albarn of Blur fame released a Gorillaz album, first album. It had a few bangers on it at the time. I think it got to number 2.
Is that right? Wow.
I think it got to number 2, well, as in the UK. But it was really well loved. I'm not too sure how well it did everywhere else. Looking at his chart positions right here. Number 2, UK. Yeah, right there. It was a good little album. We've listened to the whole thing. A basic one.
What do you
decent
think of it
songs. First of all, decent songs. Clint Eastwood, certified banger.
Yeah, absolutely.
192000, certified banger. Even though the Soul Child remix is much better.
Yeah, it's a bit of an
In it.
unfortunate thing, isn't it, when you've got one of your best songs on the entire album is overshadowed by a remix version of it, which says a lot for this album, really, doesn't it? But yeah,
Rock the House was also alright. Had a nice little bit of a bass line going to it. Overall, though, obviously I don't remember when this album came out at the time, but it was absolutely loved, and I have no idea why. Every single song on this album managed to overstay its welcome.
Yeah, I can kind of see that to an extent.
Some of them are only under 4. Most of them are under 4 minutes long, and somehow all of them drag.
At the start of the album, when I started listening to it, I did sort of, with I think the first two, Rehash and 5/4. I just found the beats were both like strong in both those songs, and they both had sort of like different instruments in them, and I thought that was the vibe that this album was going for, because obviously we already knew Clint Eastwood, and that's just got a few weird instruments in there, and it's just got a decent beat behind it. And I thought that was going to be a theme that was carried on throughout the whole album, but it wasn't all like that. There was some songs that just really didn't seem to work. New Genius rings out as one of them for me. Yeah, I'm not sure really about it.
It felt like most of these songs they're quite groovy. Gorillaz are most of their songs have kind of like mastered the modern day groove, if you know what I mean. Everything's a little bit of a mover to a bit of a head nodder, but that's it. All they seem to have is drums and bass of actual instruments, and everything else is just padded out with like literal record scratches or fucking white noise going on in the background.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to pad out the sound. If you can't think of anything interesting, don't put it there.
There's one that I've noticed is a prime example for that. If you listen to Slow Country, it's probably not one that you remembered, but if you actually listen to it, it could have been the Clint Eastwood of the album. It could have been the song that was all there. But for some reason, there's the sound of a hurricane in the background throughout the entire song. It's just like gale force winds, and I'm thinking, why do you need this? Like, they've tried to like overdo some of the songs, and it overall, I don't think it worked out too well for them.
I found myself bored at nearly every song, verses and choruses regardless. There wasn't enough going on in any song to keep me hooked on anything. There wasn't enough added at choruses to make me think, oh, that's an actual chorus now. It all just sounded like droning to me. You ever seen that scene of Breaking Bad where Walter White he's just been told that he's got cancer, and all you see for about 20 seconds is just like like TV static, and you just look at his face. That's how I felt listening to this album. It's just like every song was just boring, man. And I know it sounds like a bit of a cop-out saying that, but they were.
I've got to say, I did like the second half of the album more than the first half, contrary to popular opinion, so it seems. But I mean, they and again, some of it just felt a bit disjointed, because some of it was like obviously the standard sort of normal music. But do you remember Punk? Punk was just like an actual punk tune, and at the end of every single line, it would go da na 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 na. And that was it for the whole song. I thought it was all over the place, to be honest. There were a few.
See, I much preferred the first half than the second half.
Right.
I thought the first half was a little bit inspired here and there on some things, but the second half was just so samey and dragged out. Just didn't give me any. I wasn't interested in the slightest. I thought some of the rap verses were good throughout the album. Some of the drum beats and some of the bass lines really nice and groovy. They kept you going, but that's just not enough for the song. That should be when you want to make a catchy song, you write bass and drums, and then everything else has to keep it a little bit of a hook. You can't just bank on the bass and drums to keep someone hooked for an entire album. It's
a theme, isn't it, throughout, where there is no real, quite a lot of the time, the most successful songs on here are the ones with a good musical hook, and it did seem quite lacking on this album.
Yeah.
I mean, but to be fair, they did have one of our favourite songs in this album that I know that we both really enjoyed, M1A1.
Whoa!
Hello!
Hello!
It says, hello, anyone there, for the first 1 minute 40 seconds.
And it just keeps getting louder and louder.
And more annoying with every single time. And actually, after that, it goes into a half-decent song. But
It does. It's a nice little drop, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, you're done with it by then. I mean, it's just a bit all over the place, isn't it, really?
Overall, I am very, very bored at this album. I was not interested in the slightest bit.
So are
like,
you...
in the slightest.
Really? So there was nothing caught you at all? Because I throughout this, throughout the album, a few of the songs did
something
work
caught me, but the things that did catch me were just like, oh yeah, that's a bit shit. And I wasn't interested.
There was... I felt throughout this album there were about 4 or 5 tunes scattered throughout it, which I kind of enjoyed, I know we're going to go through ratings in a minute, but it kind of dragged it up for me in a little bit in the end.
Do you want to do ratings then? I'll let you. We'll start with the good news. You can go first.
Okay, well, we'll start with the positivity, and I'll let you bring the mood down. So like I say, songs like Soundcheck, Double Bass, 2000, they kind of brought it up for me. And you know what? I've got to say, having a Latin Simone in there, a bit of a Spanish song, always impartial. I mean, I've said I'm going to be positive here. I've actually given it 4.5, which is I think that's just pretty standard. It wasn't anything. There was too many songs that were, as you would usually describe them, duds, and that's what brought it down for me overall to the 4.5 mark.
That isn't. I know that's a negative review for a first album. I feel like there's a decent album here somewhere. They just need to do a bit more, and
remove 8 of the songs.
Remove most of the songs. It just felt a bit not like lazy, but I can write drums and a bass line, right? I could make that Gorillaz a parody of that Gorillaz album by the end of the week, I reckon.
Yeah, because why
just bass and drums and then a fucking hairdryer going on in the background.
It's
just
like,
to pad out the sound.
Having 19 songs of the album, obviously including the 2 remixes, it's throwing shit at the wall until something sticks.
Yeah,
and that's all that's unfortunately what you see with this album. I feel like
it really, really is.
And a few of them did stick, but most of it just ended up with a big pile of shit on the floor. Go on, give us a rating then.
Barely gets a 3 out of 10 for me.
Barely, wow.
It's not a good album. I won't be listening to it again anytime soon.
Oh no, but that goes for Gorillaz.
that gets some music. I need a break.
Yeah.
I just want to hear myself breathing for a few days now before we start again.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready for Demon Days if you are.
Right, Demon Days, 2005, sophomore album. It was some certified bangers in here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But they are once again hidden amongst like pieces of shit. It's like the first stages of X Factor. So you see like 100 shit acts, and then every now and then, oh, that's a good song though. Like, oh yeah, that's a good act. Like you are sifting through the shit to get a few good songs here.
And and you're Simon Cowell, I'm Sharon Osbourne here. Like it's. I mean, I feel like I'm the more positive one, and you're more critical, and it's. I'm trying to find bits of positivity in here. So go on, take us through what you thought were your good songs on this one. What did
First
you
of all,
enjoy?
the production is much better. it's more adventurous sounds and styles and structures to the songs. It's much more me. It's a hell of a lot more interesting. You know what I mean? Instead of
Ingenuity.
like the first album was something you could, like, if you put a year 10 like the fucking year 10 rock band together, they could have wrote that first album. This one, it takes a bit of skill, and Damon Albarn he's not like bad. He's got the thing called Blur. You might have heard of it. They can do a few good songs here and there.
I think all the people know that. So many people.
All the people. But overall, the songs seem to drag less. Last album there was just a bass line and a drum that was the focal point of nearly every songs. The experimentation really worked out here, but there's just still something overall I don't really vibe with on a lot of the songs.
Yeah, I can kind of sympathise with that. I mean, let's just be positive here and pick out some of the good tunes. Let's do it with disregard to Feel Good Inc., because everyone knows that Feel Good Inc. is on this album, and it's, you know, a bit of a tune. But actually, when it came on, I just skipped it because I was like, I know this. I don't need to hear this again.
I know my opinions on this.
Yeah, I don't need to listen to this again. Because it's become one of those songs that's so sort of is played so much that you just know when it comes on, you know what you're going to say about it. But so, Dirty Harry.
I completely forgot about Dirty Harry. This is a filthy tune. I love it.
Absolutely,
I completely forgot this was like a proper song.
Yeah,
I love it.
I got introduced to it via it used to always be on when I was at the football, so that's how I got introduced to it. And yeah, it's
Everton used to walk out to Dirty Harry.
They didn't walk out to it, no, but every game before the game they'd have Dirty Harry mixed in amongst like the playlist, you know, the pre-game playlist.
Oh yeah, I'm on too, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
So I've got to say, we all know Dare. It's coming up. It's Dare.
It's coming up.
But yeah, that's a decent little tune as well. I do like Kids with Guns. But again, there are some strong no's in this album. White Light being one of the key ones that I hated.
Yeah. Don't Get Lost in Heaven wasn't very good.
Oh, the last two. Don't Get Lost in Heaven and then Demon Days, both with like a really strange choral thing going on in them, and I'm not sure that it fit in with the album, having the choir finishing off the album.
I thought Demon Days it kind of dragged a bit, but it was like there was like multiple things going on, which is what Gorillaz actually need to do. I'm going to refer to it as Gorillaz and not just Damon, because you got Jamie Hewlett that does a hell of a lot as well. Don Harper, he does a lot. Lots of features. I'll just refer to it as Gorillaz. If you want to annoy me in the comments, go for it.
To be fair, we haven't had a lot of that, so God be happy with that.
We keep inviting the hate.
Yeah.
Stop this. People might actually like these.
I mean,
but like you said, it's a few good songs that are just surrounded by duds, and there's a really good album somewhere in here. They just need to be more consistent. They need to stop filling it out. If this album could have easily been 10, 11 tracks, and it would have been a much tighter album. I
mean, there was what's the song? Hold on, let me have a look through. It's Fire Coming Out of a Monkey's Head. What is it? It's a story, but they put music behind it. Why is it in the album? Like, I actually kind of enjoyed it, but it's a story about, I guess it seems like who Gorillaz are, but it just doesn't make any sense. It's not musical. It's not. It just really confused me. Last album we obviously really like Clint Eastwood, and he does his own rapping in it there. But on this album, you've got November Has Come, and I think is it All Alone as well. They're two songs with rapping in it, but obviously there's feature artists in both of those songs. which I kind of didn't rate because I kind of like just Damon on his own. I'm not sure what you think about that, because obviously,
Well,
as we move on, we are going to see a lot more feature artists. That's a spoiler coming in.
I've never like massively been a fan of features on, like, you need a few features on like a decent few rap songs.
Yeah.
If you want to fill out a verse, it can really be a nice, oh shit. It's a great way of finding like new great rappers.
Yeah.
Like I found JPEG Mafia through someone's song. I can't even remember. I found Kendrick through his Schoolboy Q song. I'm in Collard Greens actually, and that's really good, and it can work well. I've never been a fan of it on like indie stuff, rock stuff, pop stuff, and it's not really been me. But I was so grateful for it later on, because I was so sick and tired of Damon just fucking
there was a time
heavy.
where it became necessary in this discography.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was
It was
here.
the only way I was surviving this week.
The only one thing I would like to comment on is even Dare, which was obviously one of the better songs on this album, it was still grounded in acoustic guitar, and that's something I quite like. All these popular tunes, you know, still have that sort of bass of acoustic guitar in the background, and kind of like that, I've got to say.
He really does bank on the basics, but what I don't want him to, what I got to ask him to stop doing. I know it's in the past. If I could ask him, I'd say, if you want to make a mainly bass, drums, and guitar song, just do it, and don't fill it out with shithouse synth or shithouse drums. Not drums. Or just don't just like pad it out to make it sound interesting or different. Just go make a decent album with Blair or something.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's all I can say. There's a really good album somewhere here. The ideas of the first album being nice and groovy. The ideas of here with a bit more experimentation. I like it. Overall, they can make a decent album if they combine everything.
Yeah, and if they really hit it all the time, and unfortunately throughout this one, they didn't hit quite a lot of the time.
No. What are you giving it out of 10, lad?
For me, when this sort of kicked off with Last Living Souls, I liked the funky beat, and I thought it was going to be like a better evolution of the first album. But as it went on, I just started to get kind of bored of it, really. There was too much going on, and overall I think it ends up being the same as the first album for me, so that's why I'm going to give it a 4.5 again.
Another 4.5.
Another 4.5.
I expected it to be a bit higher. I've gone a bit higher. It's a positive review. Like, I do like it. No, I don't like it, but I like what they're trying. I like that he's trying. It's like when you got to disappoint. Like, your kid's a bit of a fuck up, but then he does work. He works hard, and he barely gets a grade. It's like, yeah, well, at least you tried, mate. And you got to knock him for trying something to at least make something interesting this time. I've given him like a decent 5. It's a positive review. It is a positive. I like the ideas of what he's doing. Ready to move on?
Plastic Beach. Yeah.
Are we doing Plastic Beach or The Fall first? Which one came out first?
It was Plastic Beach first.
Okay, let's do Plastic Beach one.
Released in the March of 2010.
March of 2010. I had The Fall up, so I may have to just get the next track listing up. Plastic Beach is their most liked album. I believe. I think it's their most positively reviewed album. I get a start. I think it's a good album. I do like it.
Yeah, I've got to say,
official bangers from me anyway. Welcome to the World of the Plastic Beach, Rhinestone Eyes, Melancholy Hill, Broken, and Plastic Beach, the title track. I think there's some really good stuff in it.
Oh, that was such a good tune. I really wasn't expecting it, and it came kind of out of nowhere. Because I thought, you know what, I kind of know what's good on this album, but when I heard Plastic Beach, I really, really like that. there was kind of like an ascending and descending synth throughout with broken chords. Oh, it was brilliant. I really like that song.
It had a lovely intro as well, orchestral intro.
I was just kind of thinking at this point, there's no way. Did they write this or not? I wasn't sure. I didn't manage to find out in the end. But
I'm now on. What we do when we talk about different albums, I have the different tabs open on Wikipedia, so we can see all the track listings as we talk about them, so I know which song comes where, how long it is, everything like that. And I'm looking at the writers, and on the past 2 albums it said Damon Albarn, but this time it just says Gorillaz. So I don't know whether, I mean, he's not a bad songwriter, but maybe he just got a bit more help here.
Yeah,
There's more features.
Yeah.
It's like this album does brilliantly to make you feel like you're on a beach.
Oh yeah.
It like constant like waves crashing in the background of sounds. Usually I don't like that, and I've slated them for having just padding out sounds, but it works well this time. It feels like they finally figured it out, don't they?
Yeah, to me, I'm with you there. I mean, it starts off even after the orchestral intro. It starts off really strong, and it's still got kind of that sort of classic Gorillaz funkiness behind it. Always sort of maintaining a good beat throughout, but also not overdone like they were in the first 2 albums. And yeah, I've got to say, it worked really well for me. Rhinestone Eyes is probably my favourite Gorillaz song overall, without, well, obviously I'm looking through my my FIFA clouded eyes. But yeah,
we need to stop this. We are drowned out by FIFA songs.
It doesn't matter though.
It's like, yeah, certified banger, FIFA.
Yeah, it is a good tune though, and it's got one of the best lyrics in here as well. Enjoy the credit crunch, tastes just like chicken. Comes from Stylo. Yeah, there was but again, I did like quite a lot of the songs. Some more in here. I mean, even Pirate Jet, which was a bit of a weird one, the last one. Just said Pirate Jet in the background throughout. It's just like a good standard Gorillaz tune. The one that kind of got me a bit like, what's going on here, is Cloud of Unknowing.
I really remember that one.
It really threw me off. I wouldn't have remembered it if I wouldn't have made a note of it, because it seems like it's just the one that no one cares about on this album. But it's like a strange sort of country western singer singing over an orchestral symphony.
It's Bobby Womack, isn't it?
Yeah, but like I compared it to it sounds like Billy Ray Cyrus singing over an orchestra. It just didn't go with the album. I just thought it was strange to throw that in with Bobby there.
They've managed to combine the groove and the feel and the funk of the first album, and the bangers and the experimentation and the new sound of the Human Days. They've put it together and they've made a pretty good album. I'll say there are a few duds here and there, a few songs that just feel like they shouldn't be, that you could take out and it'd be a much tighter album. Even though it is a tight album, it's everything sounds like it should be there. There are some things that sound like, yeah, that could go. I'm not too bothered about that.
What do you mean? And by that you probably mean Glitter Freeze.
Yes.
Where's North from here?
For example. Like, they didn't need the Lou Reed feature either, like, at all. This is probably their best album so far. It's got some real good bangers. It's a tighter album. You can actually listen to it as an album. What are you giving it out of 10?
So before I do, I just want to say, on the Japanese version of the album, or alternatively for me, on the Apple Music version of the album, There's two songs that have been thrown on the end, which are both orchestral symphonies, and for some reason they wrap the album up really well. Like, it's not something that I'd usually listen to, but I actually kind of really enjoyed them, and it ended up wrapping the album off nicely. And I'm thinking that the original 6.5 that I wrote down now seems a bit harsh, but that's probably just because I've listened to so much Gorillaz. So it's between 6.5 and 7 for me.
I'm giving it a a decent 7.
A decent 7, right? None less than
I think it's very positive from me.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've done it. But then we move on to something called The Fall. Now,
what a fucking fall it was. Yeah.
I haven't done like a crazy amount of research, but is this just B-sides?
I don't know, to be honest.
Because it wouldn't shock me if it was.
No, it wouldn't shock me either, actually. Just looking at some of the songs and thinking back on them, it really wouldn't surprise me either. But no, it says here that it was their 4th studio album. So
the entire album was recorded on group co-founder Damon Albarn's iPad over the course of 32 days during North American. Was he using fucking GarageBand to make this? This makes a hell of a lot more sense.
It wouldn't shock me whatsoever.
Right, but before we absolutely slate this album, which is what we're going to do, I like Revolving Doors.
Yes.
And I like Amarillo.
Yes, they're the two that I wrote down as likeable.
And everything else is dog shit.
Yeah.
It sounds like the soundtrack to Super Mario Galaxy.
Absolutely bang on. I think I love the soundtrack to Super Mario Galaxy, so you fucking leave that game alone. I'm not being funny.
Don't associate The Fall with that brilliant game.
This is far worse than that.
Yeah, it's a bad album.
Yeah, I mean, Detroit. That had a synth that it literally goes on, then off, then on, then off, then on, then off, and I compared it to an audial sort of version of epilepsy. It was it was horrible. If you listen to the main part of Hillbilly Man after the really nice introduction to that song, it breaks down into something that sounds like RuneScape combat music. There are 2 redeeming features of this entire album, and Stan has named them. I think the only thing that I can say for this album is that it was written with a complete disregard to music as a whole. And like,
it's not good, is it?
Seattle Yodel is just summing this album up.
I don't think. I mean, the fact it was recorded over a month on an iPad. It doesn't have many features. I mean, any decent song on here is just surrounded by like just backing white noise, TV static, like a toaster. At one point in one of these songs I wrote, I can't remember which one, but there was a toaster pinging in the background.
Oh, fuck.
Like, it's surrounded by unnecessary synth that if you take it away, you've got like the first album again. I mean, it takes away from the enjoyment of the album.
But
everything.
Most of it was just chaos everywhere. Like,
it had some nice transitions.
Oh yeah, no. I hated that. I liked it the first time I heard it, and then I realised that every song just fades into the next one. Like and I just eventually it just really put me off.
Yeah, they do fade a lot. Like it's like 80s or something, especially on the first album. There's a hell of a lot of fade outs going on.
The Speak It Mountains was the strange one that just kind of sums up the weirdness of this album. It had like Google text-to-speech at the start going, "It is the dawn, it is the dawn, the time has shifted, mountains, it is the dawn." And just like repeated again and again, and it gave me a headache. I'm not gonna lie. If I didn't have to listen to this album, I think after 3 songs I would have just stopped and not listened to any more. So I am saving you people time here.
It does sound like someone's just like Damon's never seen a keyboard before or a MIDI keyboard, and he really wants to fucking show that you can. Oh, this looks sick. It's like when you get a new toy, but you just make shit music. Yeah, it's a poor album.
Do you think? Wait, hold on. Let me work this out.
Go on.
It was probably recorded in the back end of 2010. Officially released in 20. Yeah, so it was recorded in the back end of 2010. So what iPhone came out in 2010? He's found out what GarageBand is and went, let's throw an album up on this. What iPhone? I'll find out while you keep talking.
He's genuinely used GarageBand as like to make the fourth.
There you go.
Album.
iPhone 4. When was GarageBand released?
Right, in the summer of 2010, they did Glastonbury. They do Glastonbury, and then in October they release this shite.
I can imagine. Did they trial any of these songs at Glastonbury?
I'm not too sure.
I can just imagine.
I don't think so.
Everyone getting down to phone it to Arizona right now.
The Snake in Dallas. Oh my god, I remember that one.
Yeah, good.
That was so poor.
Good to see Bobby Womack coming back in and doing his best Billy Ray
He's trying his
Cyrus
absolute
impression.
best.
Like he keeps on coming back. Like some sort of bloody virus.
Right. I just don't want to talk about this album anymore. Can we move on, please?
So, shall we review it? Shall we give it a rating number?
I think gets fucking I don't know, light 3.
Because I think I'm going to be extremely generous with this album, because like I say, it was made with a complete disregard to music as a whole, to people's ears, and to the world really. So I'm going to be extremely generous and provide this album with a 2. I've just noticed a comment on the website that I'm looking at, and it says, this is the most underrated Gorillaz album ever created. Them spicy mean boys, you are a tit.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a weird one. Yeah, let's just move on before
Let's get on to Humanz. Let's talk about some
right.
actual music and maybe some
They had a
sanity.
7-year hiatus before this.
Mm-hmm.
I think Damon was off doing shit with Blurred again. So they didn't do too much. Started recording in 2015, came out in 2017. Before we get into it, decent songs. Ascension with Vince Staples, really
What a
good.
tune that was, yeah.
Strobe Light,
Yeah.
very good. The Danny Brown on Submission, his verse on Submission is brilliant. Danny Brown, big boy. Andromeda's good.
I loved Andromeda, yeah.
There's some really good songs in here, but it's a 20-song album.
Quite enjoyed Saturn's Bars as well. It's decent.
Yeah, there's a lot of interludes. Like there's one song that just says elevator going up,
and that's it, yeah, and it moves on.
yeah, and then it goes into Andromeda. I like it. It's 4-second song. There's a few transitions, there's a few bits and bobs here that are alright. I feel like he's moved. Yeah, the best way to describe it, you know, when artists get a bit bored,
Mm-hmm.
or anyone with a guitar gets bored, and then they just plug in like a loop pedal, and they start making spacey shit. This is what they've done. They've just made spacey shit, and it's
Declan McKenna back again.
Yeah, Declan McKenna's second album just went spacey for no particular reason, and
Yeah.
well, on this album it's not too bad.
I actually never realised the theme of space in this one, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Strobe Light, Saturn's, Andromeda,
Saturn's.
lots of different bits and bobs.
Yeah, Ascension.
It moves into a hell of a lot more spacey shit. It's more electronically mastered.
Sex Murder
It's a hell of
Party,
a lot
obviously, affiliated with space as well.
Yeah, Sex Murder Party. It's
Both of them in the
Among Us.
space station.
It's like, so they've a hell of a lot more mature with the keyboards, with the experimentation, with the other bits and bobs. But they still keep that like playful Gorillaz, like colouring book style of music.
Yeah.
You know, like childlike fun, and it worked well. I thought with this albums, there's, as with all the albums, there's a lot of forgettable songs.
Char Char Jar.
What?
In Charger, every time he goes Charger, he goes Char Char Jar.
Exactly. See, I don't remember that. That was probably hilarious at the time.
Oh, it was awful. It was truly awful. It was a crime against music again.
Yeah. I mean, you get Pusha T on "Let Me Out" as well.
I enjoyed Pusha T actually. Yeah.
There's some good features on here.
The one thing that I will know about this one though is, so you listen to the first 10 songs, then you get onto Busted and Blue. And Busted and Blue is the first song, or proper song, not interlude or intro, that doesn't have a feature artist. And I can see why this album has feature artists.
Yeah, Busted and Blue is not very good.
Yeah, it was really... I feel like this album is really made by the feature artist. It's really not my kind of music, like I say, but...
No. Gorillaz have never really spoke to me too much. They've not been my kind of style. I've liked the big songs. I've liked a few songs I've heard on the radio, but nothing too much.
To be honest with you, though, I think even the older albums are more my kind of music than this is with this album. I didn't enjoy a lot of it, especially towards the back end. I really started getting put off it quite a bit.
I think it was enjoyable as an album.
Yeah.
I think it's the most enjoyable, apart from Plastic Beach, is really good. Or second best to listen to as an album, with all the interludes. I don't really like interludes. I think they're a waste of everyone's time. But they worked well, and it's a good, chill out sometimes, a good, build up to a big song coming up.
To be honest, I enjoyed it most when it finished, but...
I think there's some good high notes on here, lots of duds. It worked nice as an album. Nice features, better than their early stuff. Overall, it's a decent album, but it's relatively safe, I'd say.
Yeah, I've made a note that I felt as though it was, especially with all the sort of feature artists, I think it sort of fit quite well into what would have been sort of the type of music coming into the mainstream around that time. It fit in quite well with that. It
did feel like a bit down with the kids, didn't it?
Yeah.
Here and there. I think it's all right. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's all right. What are you giving it out of 10, mate?
Maybe this is because of how depressed I was after listening to the last album. But yeah, like I say, quite a lot of the songs I really didn't enjoy on this album. It was brought up by a couple of good ones. Overall, I think the ones that I didn't enjoy outweighed the ones that I did, so I gave it a 4.
You gave it a 4. I'm giving this a positive. I think they've really done quite well in the last 2 albums. I don't think it's terrible. There's a hell of a lot of duds, but there's some good ideas in here that could go far and could work out.
Yep.
I gave it barely gets a 6, but it's a positive.
Right, I'm surprised I think that you went decent. For that high, but
I was at the time.
I think it sort of fits in better with what you like in terms of music as well, though.
I like it. If it's not my style of music, you've got to try and make it enjoyable for the world, or for the normals.
Mm-hmm.
The normies, and I thought it was all right to listen to in the whole. I was just doing uni work while I was doing it. I thought it was nice. Some things nice and chill to listen to while I'm listening to it. I wasn't actively listening to every single thing they said. I'd have lost my fucking mind. I think so. I thought it was an okay album. Barely gets a 6 though. But you know what's not a good album?
Well, we'll find out, won't we? When we move on to the best album by Gorillaz, The Now Now.
It's called The Now Now. This is the single worst album I've heard in a very long time.
Really? Wow.
I'm truly amazed at how every song on this album is equally as uninspired as the last. It sounds like a cash grab.
Okay. I can, to an extent, I can get with that. I think that makes... Yeah, I can see that why you'd think that. Personally...
It sounds like he's wrote it in about 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean...
There was nothing new. There was nothing going on with this album that is in the slightest bit interesting. But you can't make something low-key and call it interesting because it's a different style. No, it's a shit style. It's not worked well.
Wow.
Slad.
Wow, you're quite passionate about this.
No, how the fuck can you get away with this? This is a shit album. You can't put this out and just expect it to be alright.
God, you're not going to be happy when you hear my opinions on this album.
Like, it's the single most boring 45 minutes yet on their discography. It's shocking. It sounds like I swear I heard a hand dryer in the background of one, like a bathroom hand dryer. This is a shit album. Go on.
So after all that aggression, I can move on to telling you that I found all of the music on this album to have a decent beat behind it as per. But all of it was very inoffensive. There was nothing. They didn't. Not.
There was nothing that caught your ears.
There's nothing that
perked them up.
No, I can't even remember a single song. But it was so inoffensive, and a prime example of that was Idaho or Magic City. And this is the type of thing that I could genuinely listen to if I was just sort of sitting around doing shit all, not really wanting to be inspired. There was nothing inspiring about it. I've got to agree with you. But
it's music to sleep to. It's an album to sleep to.
Yeah, I could, but I don't know. Maybe it was because I was playing FIFA at the time, but I found it quite calming. Overall, I just thought it was just nice and chilled. And if that was what they were going for, maybe it is a cash grab because maybe it could be thrown together.
I mean, if they released Humanz in 2017, this came out in 2018, they usually... I mean, first album in 2000, and then one 5 years later, then another 5 years later, and then whatever the fuck The Fall was, written in a month. And then 7 years to Humanz. I know there was a hiatus. He took him 2 years to write it. He's taken less than a year to write this, and it sounds like it. It sounds like a cash grab.
I personally enjoyed it because it felt like I was having a bit of a break.
It's not their usual style.
No,
it's not their like there's anything loud, anything to perk your ears up, anything. Oh, that sounds like a good song. No, nothing sounded like a good music. Nothing was like good music.
The best phrase I can use to describe this album is "nothing ventured, nothing gained." They didn't put anything out there. They didn't go for it in any way whatsoever.
No.
But you know, it's just there, isn't it? For me, anyway. I haven't been offended by it. I didn't think it was shocking. But they haven't really kind of gained from it. They haven't profited. They don't look better musically for the album. It's just there. And that's... I mean, I'm going to just go straight into it and tell you that's why I think it's a 5. It's just straight down the middle. There is nothing really.
Barely gets a 2 from me.
Barely gets a 2, wow.
It's the only reason it's not like proper down there is because it's a new style. They're trying something new. I can't knock them for it. It's a bit more guitar-y. It's a bit more chill sometimes. It's a bit... Now, it is nice and calming sometimes, but anything good or anything that's a hit, what would be a hit song, you will find nothing of that on this album. There's some... I'm really struggling to find good words for it. It's barely gets a 2 from me.
Can you not find one redeeming feature? Go on, please.
It's...
No.
I don't know. Next time I get insomnia, I'll probably put it on. Help me sleep.
Well, there you go. And that's why
And
it's
that-
a
yeah.
nice, calm 5 out of 10. Moving on
Nice, calm cash
to
grab.
the album that was released just yesterday as we are recording this, Song Machine.
So we're obviously already experts on it.
Oh yeah, I know it like the back of my hand.
It's getting some good reviews, this one.
Yeah, I
4 stars.
I can see why.
4 out of 5s. I like it.
I do as well.
think it's an alright album.
It was enjoyable.
As it is a new album, it's what people want. We're going to go track by track for the first 11. We're not going to do the deluxe.
So can I just say hello quickly to those of you who have skipped straight to this point. I can imagine there's a couple of you. And yeah, you've probably done yourself...
If someone sat through this whole thing so far.
Yeah, you've probably done yourself a big favour by skipping all the way through and not listening to the rest of...
Well, at least go listen to what I said about the Now, because it's like... I go on a very big rant.
It's necessary reading for...
necessary. Let's just get straight into it. Song 1, Stranger Times. It's kind of like the title track of it.
Yes,
featuring Robert Smith
Times,
of fucking hell, what they on? The Cure fame.
Yeah.
This is classic Gorillaz, but it's a bit more revamped. It's a bit more get at you. It's faster, louder.
Yeah, it was
really nice and groovy.
The piano
really
was
like
really
song.
freaky and fun. It was.
This is a fun song. I don't think anyone could have done the lyrics better than Robert Smith, though.
No, not at all. It's just had that like kind
this
of...
song's built for him.
Yeah, and it has such like a freaky but ominous feel, but at the same time, they've made that fun somehow, which is a weird balance, and I don't know how they've done it, but they've done it well.
It's the fastest we've ever heard Gorillaz, this album.
Yeah.
On some things, anyway. There's a few chill moments. It's probably not the loudest. But there are some. There's some redeeming factors so far. It's we're getting there, lads.
And
next song, ready?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when that spinning around part of the chorus where Robert Smith comes in. That's like, I mean, you look around at other feature artists, no one else could have done that justice in the way that he did, so I think you are definitely right in saying that.
I feel like this song, and I know he's like part of the writers, but I feel like this song is built around his voice. It works very well with his tone. This is like the first time we've talked about a proper feature.
Yeah, and that's probably because...
all the others are boring.
Well, yeah, but it's a theme that we're going to see throughout this album, I think. I don't know if you're with me on this one, but the features all seem to kind of gel well with the songs.
Right, Valley of the Pagans. But what I found, like, Damon does just use artists that are far more interesting than him. Far more, maybe not musically talented, but will definitely add more to the song. Because if it was just him again, this album would be so much shitter than it actually is.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He used Beck on this one, Valley of the Pagans. It's definitely more a Humanz-y vibe. They're sticking with the Humanz-y vibe from what we got from that. He's still filling out a lot of the songs with like useless white noise.
I can agree with that to an extent where it's more of the Humanz vibe, but I feel like I enjoyed this album a lot more than I did Humanz. I think the features worked better with the songs and they didn't just pluck them from thin air, because that's how I kind of felt with Humanz. I don't know if all the feature artists were involved in the writing of the songs, but especially with this one with Beck, I thought that he went really well in this song. He fit really well in.
They're a lot more lyrically heavy, this album, isn't it?
Yeah. But this one, I know you said it was a bit overdone, but I also liked the return to funkiness again.
It's a hell of a lot more groovy, like nice melody going on with everything. It's a nice little song. It's not my favourite.
To be honest,
it's a bit of it. We're already getting into that kind of Gorillaz style where so many songs are just there
I'm not gonna lie, I said this is probably one of my favourite songs off the last 3 albums combined. That doesn't say a lot for this song.
No,
It says a lot for the
it's a
last
good
3.
it's a good song.
Yeah.
It's a good song, but like we haven't had a proper like banger since I don't know. Feel Good Inc.
Yeah.
Nothing like loud, naughty. We had a lot of stuff on Plastic Beach.
You could say,
but they weren't exactly loud.
Yeah, Ascension was good. I still do like Ascension, but if you're looking for something louder, but should we move on to the Lost Chord if you are ready?
Right, Lost Chord. It sounds exactly like the previous song. All they've done is increase the speed with the hi-hat, make it an 8th beat in the background. It's boring. It's uninspired. It's not interesting.
Yeah. I think is it Lee John in this who's doing the high pitched singing throughout?
Mm-hmm.
It annoyed me. It's good in short bursts. It can work well if you do a few high pitched things. Maybe towards the end of a song when it comes to a climax. It kind of reminded me of why I hate Sam Smith. It was just annoying throughout. To be honest, I didn't like the song. I didn't think it went well, and I can see what you mean. By it's very similar to Pagans, but I think maybe that speaks more for Beck than anything because it feels like Lee John destroyed this song for me, whereas Beck made the last one. It wasn't awful, but I just didn't enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie.
No,
there wasn't too much to it, and it was a bit slow.
Leslie was not the best on here. It's another, as I say, song. It's alright. It's nothing I'd add to a playlist or anything. Want to move on, mate? Pac-Man.
Pac-Man, yeah. I'm happy to.
Right. Featuring Schoolboy Q, one of my favourite rappers.
I did not know that.
I'm getting proper, like, on this song, I'm getting, like, proper, like, old school, like, West Coast vibes. Like, Tupac or, like, really early NWA. Like that. It's like that piano that sounds like every single synth that they added on the West Coast. And I just noticed on this song how much heavy breathing Damon does when his parts come in.
I did not notice that.
It's like heavy breathing and just like really like intimate mic singing. It sent shivers down my spine when I realised.
I'm not going to listen back to this song now. I actually quite enjoyed it as well.
Schoolboy's verse is brilliant though.
I was going to say, up until that point, I liked it at the start. It was a bit fun, a bit funky. But then, as Damon carried on singing, it kind of began to drag for me. But when Schoolboy Q comes in, it kind of brings the song back on track. It really does make the song.
So what you're saying is the song would have been shit if it wasn't for the feature?
Well, either you needed a feature to keep it at the length that it is, or if it was 1 minute long, then it would have been fine. Because it got old quite quickly with just Damon. But yeah, we're not going to keep on saying this for all the songs, are we?
Or I will be, if I get to make a point that Damon is the downfall of Gorillaz. I will.
Oh God, you have pissed off at least 7 people.
I don't care. He's the least interesting writer on this album. Right, next song. Chalk Tablet Towers. It's... I think Annie's good on it. St. Vincent. It's very... I'm getting like a few bit Plastic Beach vibes now. Like chill, very... If a song could have a smell, this one would be like the seaside.
The song could have a smell. Brilliant.
The song could have a smell.
We're not judging them off lyrical or musical quality off them anymore. Judging them off fucking smell.
Genuinely, I am just so sick and tired of like saying the same thing for every song because it's that most songs are just getting similar now. To
be honest, this song, even with the harmonies throughout the song from St. Vincent, it was monotonous, flat, and a bit boring.
I think it was an okay song.
I like,
there's nothing I'd write home about, and nothing I'd put in a playlist. But
I like the O's to break it up. And to be fair, at the end it all seemed like it came together a little bit more, but no, it wasn't decent. It wasn't really a good song for me, and I don't know.
I think in this album so far, like, what I would usually class as the duds can actually be seen as, like, acceptable songs on an album instead of just complete and utter dishwash.
Dishwash?
Dishwash water.
Yeah, dishwater,
I think it's a shorter album than they'd usually do. And it works well. It means most of the songs can be, like, relatively interesting instead of completely and utterly uninspired, boring shite. Right. The next song, the Pink Phantom, it's quite smooth. Oh, this is a song with the hand dryer in the background.
Is this the one with the hand dryer?
Yeah, I think so. It's pissing me off massively. I wrote here. Okay. Maybe I've gone insane from listening to so many Gorillaz.
So many hand dryers. Maybe it was a hand dryer. That's what you're not realising.
It's getting. It's getting, but it's not that interesting. It's Elton John's a nice touch. The bass tone's brilliant.
The strangest, like, combination of feature artists with Gorillaz.
Elton John and Black is a weird one.
I did not expect Gorillaz,
however you want to
Six
say
Lack and Elton John. Like, it's going to be Black, isn't it? But that's just...
No, it is Black, but some people actually call him Six Lack. I have no idea why.
I'm calling him Black. Yeah, I thought this was quite like a... It's like a cute little tune, but it wasn't... you know what I was thinking when I was listening to it, though? Because it kind of had, like, that soft, sort of slow, chilled vibe about it. But I don't know when that song is meant to be listened to. Because I'm not going to listen to it on my own. If it comes on my own, I'm going to skip it. If it's you're not going to listen to it if you're, like, it's not going to be played at a bar or anything like that. When is this song meant for? And that's what I found myself, like, able to ask for quite a lot of songs throughout this discography. When are they meant to be listened to?
Well, they won't be listened to again for any amount of time for me.
Who are you bastards listening to it?
Gorillaz are, like, really loved, you know.
Really?
It's they are huge. They're headlining festivals and shit. Why? They've got, like, 6 good songs.
Yeah, throughout the album, like, and I suppose maybe that's why it can work well at festivals and stuff like that. Because if they play sort of 6 or 7 of the good songs, which are all of them, and then mix that in with 4 or 5 that aren't as good, then people only remember the good songs. So maybe that's why sort of they are so popular at festivals and stuff like that. Maybe it does go well. I don't know.
Or maybe they're just cheap as shit to book.
Have you watched any of their festival sets?
I watched Glastonbury. I watched a little bit of Lollapalooza the other year. They put on a show. They really do put on a show. But the music is just... There's so much going on with this band that's doing me head in. Let's move on.
Go on then.
What the fuck are we on now? Aries?
Yeah, that's right. I think...
Right, so Aries. I can really see, like, if you don't know who Georgia is, she makes dance music, but she sings, she plays drums live. She's really talented, up and coming, very cool. I can really see her influence on this. It's like chill dance music. It's like the pulsing rhythm in the background, but it's still got that Gorillaz charm to it, that playful charm to it. There's Peter Hook does a cool little bass line at one point. I think that's it from him. I didn't notice anything else.
To be honest, yeah, I'm with you there. I don't know what he's done here.
I think it's a good little song. It's not brilliant, but it's a nice little song.
It comes in quite hard at the start with, like, guitars, and then it goes, after 10 seconds, it goes, Aries. And at that point, I thought it sounded like sort of like a roller coaster advert for a roller coaster called Aries. But no, it turns out it did carry on after that. Much to my disdain, because I didn't really enjoy it. I can kind of see what you mean now, sort of with, again, I just sort of took the sort of the rhythm of the song as a given that it would be good, I suppose. And I've talked about the rest of it, and I thought overall, again, I found the vocals to be quite boring.
He's so monotone, isn't he?
Yeah, but even the guitar riff that was used to break up the verses, there wasn't really much to it. I felt like at the very end, though, it all came together nicely, so it made it a decent tune in the end. But again, not one that I'm going to be remembering for very long.
So far, most of the songs are okay.
Yeah.
Instead of if we did this with every album, there'd be a hell of a lot of songs I'd just go, that is a shit song. All the songs are listenable. They're okay so far. Apart from the next one.
Thank God. Oh my God, I was literally about to say that.
Right. Do you want to hear what I've wrote for Friday 13th?
Go on. I thought I was
shit song, boring, uninspired, waste of my time.
I thought I was going to get slated for not really liking this song.
No, it's a shit song.
Great, good. I'm glad that we can kind of agree on this one.
Can we move on?
No, because I want to ask you something. What do you think? What do you think of Octavian?
Oh, I don't fucking know. I don't even know. It's
gone out your head. It was that bad.
Yeah, I hardly remember.
Octavian was the feature artist on this one, and I just found his voice to be a bit shit and so annoying throughout. I mean, obviously you can't remember it, so I can't ask you. But yeah, I mean, really not much to say about a song that is just really not that good. Yeah, so I'm happy if you want to just go straight onto Dead Butterflies.
Thank fuck. I don't know who the fuck Damon thinks he is working with a trap beat, like a chill trap beat here, but it's working. And I don't want it to work, but it's working. I like it. I like this song. The Kano verse is decent. He's got a nice little voice going on. It works well with the song in a way of this shouldn't work, but it does. Look what Gorillaz have done to me. I'm now explaining shit like that. Like my head's gone. My head's completely popped.
This is another one that I never realised until reading back over what I've wrote now. I never realised that this song was shit until Kano came in.
Yeah.
Again, it's to be fair, I think Roxanne did a decent little job as well. I quite enjoyed their little Spanishy bit. But yeah, you know what? It mainly reminded me of this song when I just read the title and I couldn't stop laughing at it after that, and that's all I've really thought about. It reminds me of my youth watching Impractical Jokers, and when who is it? I think Sal sings a song in a baseball stadium, singing a butterfly crime scene. And he just starts screaming the words butterfly crime scene. And that's all I thought about this whole song, because it was I enjoyed Kano's feature, which is not like me again, because it's not like the type of shit that I'd listen to. But
it's a different type of beat, it's a different type of style, which
yeah.
we haven't seen a change up for many albums. I like it. I can't knock on for trying something different. The keyboard works nice. Kano's verse is good. I think it's a decent song. I like it.
And then, shall we move on to another decent song then?
Désolé.
Désolé.
Is that Spanish?
No, it's French, I believe.
Of course.
It's got two accents on it, so it can't be Spanish, yeah.
Right, this song, I swear it's just a whole, different tempos are build up into different parts of the song.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. Did you hear the sleigh bells in the background by any chance?
No.
They're now filling out songs as sleigh bells. That's what it's called. Hand dryers, white noise, TV static, and sleigh bells.
I'm not gonna lie. Ugh. I thought you were gonna hate this song. I thought you were gonna despise it.
No, it's plastic beach vibes again.
Yeah, I just loved it almost. This sounds stupid that I have to sort of clarify this, but it almost sounds creative, which is shocking. Like, they've got one word, désolé, and they say it in the same way every single time. But they build so many different parts around it. It's, like, really, really well made and well written. Especially, like... And it just felt like the music was constantly evolving. I just...
Yeah, it was constant different tempos of build up going into different parts, and then that different part isn't then a different build up into a different part.
Yeah,
it's very
one time
new.
you've got like brass with you, and then you've got violins, and then it's just all over the place, and I love it.
Those synthy violins, very Plastic Beachy again, like on Melancholy Hill, for example. I like the song.
Yeah, I've got to say, this is probably one of my favourite songs. I did enjoy it.
Right.
The one thing that you're waiting to find out, though, is does the album end strongly with Momentary Bliss, featuring Slaves and Slow Tie, which is another 3 artists that I did not expect to see together. But
Slow Tie is one of my favourite rappers. I'm going to be incredibly biased on this song, but I do like it.
Okay.
Him and Slaves harmonising together. I can't remember the lad from Slaves' name.
Oh, I wouldn't have a clue. Do you want me to give it a quick track?
It's not Lawrence. Oh, it's Isaac. It's Isaac.
Johnny Craig.
I'm just what?
I know. I'm looking at the American band. Never mind.
Fuck's sake.
Ignore
right, here, mate. I'm looking at the writers here. One of the writers is called Mike Dean.
Mike Dean. It's the real one. Oh,
no, he's a record producer.
God,
it's
Mike
not.
Dean.
I'm afraid it's not the Mike Dean we are all aware of in football. Him and Slaves harmonising, not Mike Dean. Slow Tie and Slaves harmonising together works really well. I want to hear a mixtape of Slow Tie and Slaves, like ASAP. I think it's a really good mix, but the verse is shit. The verse is slow. I mean, you've got a fucking punk band, and you've got one of the harder rappers going, and then you hit them with like a barely altered guitar riff and a slow beat. What the fuck are you doing?
Sorry, are you on about sort of whose part are you on about here? Are you on about Slaves' part?
Well, I'm on about the verse, the actual beat of the verse.
Right. Okay.
It doesn't mix with Slow Tie and Slaves. You'd think it would be a fast, hard song. I know that's not Gorillaz' style. If that's not your style, don't get them in. It's a shit beat in the verses. It's an okay song. The choruses are fun with the harmonising. There's not too much to talk about. It's a relatively basic song. It's an okay song, but it's just... I think Damon needs a good long break from music. He's struggling to write anything interesting.
I thought this was a really kind of fun tune. The way that it sort of gets slower and quicker between the... Like, I know the verses weren't quick enough to your liking, but it was faster in the verses when you compare it to...
You don't have to make the verses faster. Just add more sound, or add another guitar, or make it a bit more electric.
I suppose there was only really one kind of guitar, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's an okay song.
But I do like how the chorus was sort of... The lovely Rita part was quite quiet and slow, and then it goes into the sort of the heavier guitar in the verse, and then it goes to a piano solo at one point. So it was a bit all over the place. But again, I thought for me, I know you're not the same as me, but for me it worked quite well. Yeah.
Thank fuck we're done. No, we're not done. What are you giving it out of 10? This one.
What am I giving it out of 10? Do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a light 6. It's a much tighter album. It's the tightest album we've heard from them yet. All the songs are all right. I like they've mixed the style. They've kind of taken the shithousery of the now, the chill, guitar-y calmness. They've put interesting people on to drown out Damon.
Yeah.
They've changed up. They've added Humanz style. They've added a little bit of Demon Days style. They've made it nice. Some really good bass lines, some really good tones. Production's good on here. I think it's an alright album. You get a positive one from me, but barely, like 6.
I think I'm probably going to agree with you in terms of a rating on this one. And one of the things that I mainly like about this album is, let's disregard Friday the 13th for a second. When you actually look at what the bad songs on this album, or the not as good songs, none of them are bad per se. They're all
apart from Friday the 13th.
Apart from Friday the 13th, which is why the album sort of. You see, because this is the thing, I like songs more off of Demon Days and Gorillaz, but they couldn't ever consistently keep me interested. So that's why this one is going to go above them, and I'm going to give this album a 6 with you.
You see, you say it couldn't keep me constantly interested. The only thing that was keeping me going is seeing oh, look who's featured next. I wasn't excited for the beat. I wasn't excited for the song. I was excited for the feature.
Finally, Damon has found something that can keep us interested throughout all the albums, throughout all the songs, even if it's not him.
Yeah. Right. Oh, thank fuck we're done.
So, do you want to give me your overarching sort of take on Gorillaz?
How are they big? Why? I'm bewildered. They've got Plastic Beach is a really good album.
Yeah.
They've got a few bangers here and there, but definitely not everywhere. They've released so many really poor albums. I know you don't get big off how good an album is anymore. You do years down the road. You get a big off 1 or 2 songs, which I feel like is how they got big initially, off Clint Eastwood, off Feel Good Inc.
Yeah.
Off Dare.
Nah, just stick with them.
Yeah. But I'm bewildered at how many of these songs are the exact same.
Yeah.
I genuinely, this is my final thought. He could have easily put, I reckon, 7 songs, the exact same song, throughout all his albums, and I wouldn't have noticed. Genuinely, I think if it goes past 7, maybe I would have noticed, but I don't think before 7 I wouldn't have noticed, because all the songs are just, most of the songs anyway, they're uninspired, uninteresting.
Yeah.
They're so meh. All the songs.
I can only echo what you're saying in terms of sort of the good songs being kind of, unfortunately, few and far between. This is something where I was coming into this thinking I'm going to really enjoy this. Hopefully find some new good tunes, and I did. But they were so too few and far between that it was.
I found one.
Yeah. I found quite a couple on Plastic Beach that I hadn't heard before, but that was about it for me. And Desolé, which I do quite like still. But coming into this, I thought, you know what, at least if the songs are shit, it's going to be fun. But it wasn't. And unfortunately, that sort of is what's going to stick with me from this discography review. So if you ever want to see more positivity from us, be sure to come back next time. Have we got any plans for what is coming up?
Right. Well, we had to talk about this, weren't we? If we get to 1K before Crimbo,
you're not hitting us with this now.
The Crimbo special can be the Arctic Monkeys one, if you really
we get
want
at least one comment on every video saying, I know you've probably heard this before, but do Arctic Monkeys.
It'd be a great way to get big. We know that's why we want to be relatively big first.
Yeah.
But, if you can get us to 1K before Crimbo.
We probably should have said this at the start. So that
we'll
means
put it in the
next episode, we'll say at the start. So for the 10 of you that are still here, Thank you for listening.
10. Oh, bloody hell, that's a...
And get us 1,000 subs.
Yeah, get us to 1,000 subs. Next week, hopefully, we're going to do Nothing But Thieves. They released an album today, actually. I still haven't heard it. I like them. It's only a 3-album one. We'll try and keep it relatively quick. Maybe under an hour. We'll try and hour and a half max. Same time as this. We'll do the whole discography like we've done all our previous ones. That's it. Hopefully, there'll be something, another band coming out, or another album coming out that we can talk about, because it's a little bit dry at the minute. At which point we might have to upload that Wombats one we recorded the other day, or we'll have to upload another The Adults Are Talking Shice, or something like that. Let us know what you want to see. Subscribe, like, share, all that shice. Bye bye.